Well, greetings on day 30 of our transformative journey through Lent. I'm at the beautiful Prineville Reservoir, about 45 minutes from my house. Prineville, actually, by the way, is the place that houses the Facebook Data Center. What that means is that all of your pictures, all of your notes, all of the things you say on Facebook are stored about 10 minutes from here, which is about a half hour from my house. So I want you to know that anytime that I'd like, I can always go over to the Prineville Data Center, jump the fence, and look into the computers there and see everything you've put on Facebook. Oh yeah, that's what we do here in Redmond. We don't really, but we have 10 days left on this transformative personal journey through Lent, and today we're ending week 5, which has been under the umbrella of Jesus saying to Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" Again, as you've said, as you've seen, using different words to capture where Peter is, to love him unconditionally, just where he is, but to love him too much to let him stay that way. You know, I think that many of the commentators I've read have said, oh, that's not that big a deal, those changes of words that Jesus uses. Although I think it's very important for Peter to say, dude, yeah, we're buds. When Jesus says, do you love me with an everlasting agape sacrificial love, I think there's something to that. When Jesus says for the 3rd time, dude, are we buds? And Peter says, yeah, let's hang together. Jesus loves him too much to let him stay that way, although he approaches him on that level. And what that has to do with our question today, when Jesus says, what does it profit them if they gain the whole world but lose or forfeit themselves? Jesus had just said in the words right before that question that those who want to follow him must take up their cross, deny themselves, and follow after Jesus. Taking up your cross. We all know those words. But it's a difficult concept for us to grasp. Sometimes I hear people say when they've been through a difficult time, well, it's just my cross to bear. Sometimes when something happens in their life, whether it's a job loss or caring for an ailing parent or dealing with an alcoholic spouse, sometimes people say, you know, it's just my cross to bear. And I nod, you know, and I try to be compassionate and caring, which I feel that I am. But at the same time, you know, in some ways I feel like saying, you know, Jesus bore the cross for you. Jesus bore the cross for us once and for all. He's already suffered on the cross for our sin, for our grief, for our troubles, for all the challenges that we're facing. And Jesus bore the cross. It's not your job. I don't say it, but in some ways I sometimes feel it's not your job to bear the cross. Now let me clarify what that means. Let me clarify what that means, because what I wonder about in quiet moments of faith is that if we equate our current suffering and our challenges with us bearing the cross, you know, in a sense that minimizes Jesus bearing the cross for us and bearing in his body, on his stripes that we are healed, bearing on him the burden of humanity's sinfulness. In some ways, I feel like saying, it's not your job to bear the cross. Jesus has already done it. Now, stick with me on this, because before I get into too much trouble here, let me suggest that Jesus has been holding up here, as we've seen, an agape love. What he wants from us is an agape sacrificial love, when we're willing to do anything, sacrifice anything for him. In many ways, what he's looking for is for us to recognize that we need to give our all. We need to live in loving service to others, where we believe that love is stronger than hate, forgiveness is stronger than sin, and life is stronger than death. Let me suggest that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, in your life of deepening discipleship, if I hope and pray that's happening for you, that it's important to remember that Jesus loves you with an agape love, even though you may only be able to love him with a phileo, buddy kind of love. As I've said before, Jesus loves you unconditionally, but loves you too much to let you stay that way. And here's my own particular bias on this, on taking up your cross. Taking up your cross means being on a transformative personal journey to an agape love for Jesus. Taking up your cross means being on a transformative personal journey toward an agape love for Jesus. Because when you have an agape love for Jesus, that's sacrificial. That's serving. That's taking up your cross to follow Jesus for others. And that's what part of that means. Taking up your cross, I hate to say it, but is not caring for your mother-in-law. That's just something you do. But being on a transformative personal journey through an agape love for Jesus, that, I think, moves us toward an agape kind of love. So think about that. Pray about that. I'm far more interested in simply asking you questions about some of your deep convictions, because you've already recognized that this is a beyond question experience. It's about asking deep, probing questions, realigning questions, questions that draw you into a deeper life of discipleship in following Jesus toward an agape love. I don't want to be too heavy about all this, but I do want to give you something to think about. Read the devotion, listen to the song. Brad from Wisconsin emailed me a song this morning, kind of a funky song by Toby Mac. Brad is much more cool than I will ever be. It's an awesome song, so after you have this experience, listen to the second song, and it'll lift your spirits. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.